everyone. It is Tuesday, February 8th, 2022 at 7 p.m. I'm here to call this Fairfield Township Board of Trustees meeting to order. Trustee Hartmeyer here. Trustee Birding.
Present.
Trustee Mackey.
Here.
I make a motion to appoint Ralph Sizemore as our clerk pro tem this evening.
Second?
Trustee Hartmeyer. Yes. Trustee Birding.
Yes.
Trustee Mackey.
Yes.
We have a number of resolutions for tonight. We will be welcoming some new members to our Fairfield Township team. Mrs. Sonderhar, may I have the first resolution, please?
Resolution number 2228, authorizing the appointment of full-time police officer Richard E. Coy Jr., who is certified by Ohio Peace Officers Training Council at an hourly rate of $28.05 with a 12-month probationary period.
Let's to adopt.
Second.
Any discussion?
The chief will have blessing.
What we're going to do is we're going to run through. Well, you wanted to do it before or after? What we're going to do is we're going to run through all of these resolutions, and then we'll move to the swearing in.
Resolution 2220.
Call the roll.
Oh, sorry. Any discussion? All right. Trustee Hargemeyer? Yes. Trustee Birding?
Yes.
Trustee Mackey?
Yes.
That resolution passes. Next resolution, please.
Resolution 2229, authorizing the appointment of full-time police officer Mark S. Bartlett Jr., who is certified by Ohio Peace Officers Training Council at an hourly rate of $26.23 with a 12-month probationary period.
Motion to adopt?
Second.
So this is a different salary than the first one? So the one we just passed or voted on has some experience?
Trustee Hargemeyer? Yes. Trustee Birding?
Yes.
Trustee McAdoo?
Yes.
That passes. Next resolution, please.
Resolution 2230, authorizing the appointment of full-time police officer Tess M. Flynn, who is certified by Ohio Peace Officers Training Council at an hourly rate of $26.23 with a 12-month probationary period.
Motion to adopt 22-30.
Second? Are these all replacement? All four?
Trustee Hargemeyer? Yes. Trustee Birding?
Yes.
Trustee McAdoo?
Yes.
Next resolution, please.
Resolution 2231, authorizing the appointment of full-time police officer Austin L. Reed, who is certified by Ohio Peace Officers Training Council at an hourly rate of $26.23 with a 12-month probationary period.
Motion to adopt.
Second. Trustee Hargemeyer? Yes. Trustee Birding?
Yes.
Trustee McAdoo?
Yes.
That passes. Next resolution, please.
Resolution 2232, authorizing the appointment of full-time firefighter paramedic Matthew Estridge to the Fairfield Township Fire Department at an hourly rate of $18.25 on a 24/48 shift with a 12-month probationary period.
To adopt.
Second.
And this is also a replacement?
Trustee Hargemeyer? Yes. Trustee Birding?
Yes.
Trustee McAdoo?
Yes.
That resolution passes. Next resolution, please.
Resolution 2233, authorizing the appointment of full-time firefighter EMT Nathaniel Perini to the Fairfield Township Fire Department at an hourly rate of $17.25 on a 24/48 shift with a 12-month probationary period.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Trustee Harkemaier.
Yes,
Trustee Birding.
Yes.
Trustee Matt.
Yes.
that passes. So at this time, I would like to welcome up Chief Polly, if you'd like to say a few words.
Thank you. Tess, Richard, Mark, and Austin, if you want to stand in the middle of the room, face the crowd.
You want to tell us which one's which?
Tess is the young lady.
Well,
Richard is the gentleman to the far, to my far left. Mark is next to him, and then the remaining candidate is Austin at the end here. Good evening. I'm Bob Shabali, Chief of Police of Fairfield Township Police Department. Trustees, Mrs. Vonderhaar, family and friends of our candidates, thank you for being here tonight on this very special occasion, the swearing-in ceremony of Tess Flynn, Richard Coy, Mark Bartlett, and Austin Reed to be members of the Fairfield Township Police Department. Prior to that, I would like to introduce members of the Fairfield Township Police Department. Captain Doug Lanier, step forward. Officer Scott Singleton, step forward. Amy Mays, he's our midnight sergeant. Sergeant Brandon McCroskey, he is our day sergeant. Sergeant Matt Miller, behind Captain Lanier. You can barely see him because he's hiding behind a tree. He is on SWAT, and he's also our second shift or afternoon sergeant. Sergeant Vanderwright behind me, John Vanderwright, he is the administrative sergeant, also in charge of investigation. Did I miss anybody? As you're aware, our candidates go through a thorough vetting process, which includes submitting a lengthy application, a panel interview, a polygraph examination, thorough background investigation, a second interview with Captain Lanier and myself, medical examination, a drug test, and a psychological evaluation. All of these candidates passed all the components, and they have provided their respective bios, which Captain Lanier will read in a couple of seconds. After the swearing in, please introduce your family and friends and provide any comments you desire. At this moment, I'll turn it over to Captain Lanier so he can read your respective bios.
Four of them. Tess? Tess Flynn is from Preble County, Ohio, and graduated from Eaton High School in 2016. She then continued her education when she attended Miami University Hamilton and received her bachelor's degree in forensic investigation with a sub-minor in social work. Tess recently graduated from the Butler Tech Police Academy, and in her free time, she likes to be in the outdoors, play tennis, and scuba dive. Tess is currently certified in nitrox, as well as search and recovery diving. She is excited to begin her career as a police officer and hopes to one day be part of the Butler County Tax Team. Richard Coy Jr., he has served in law enforcement and as a firefighter EMT for 20 years, with approximately 8 years of that being supervisor experience. Also corrections experience where he served as a corrections officer. His experience, combined with his ability to adapt to and promote diversity, enables him to immerse himself in a community. He possesses a high energy level, strives to complete assignments with great efficiency, and has participated in and coordinated several community policing events throughout his career, from safety talks to canine demonstrations. He is an advocate for community policing, and his greatest strengths include a strong desire to promote safety and security, integrity, dependability, and he is loyal to his community and the law enforcement agency. He has received numerous awards and commendations, such as Officer of the Year, a couple Chief Excellence Awards, Crime Prevention Awards, and 3 Life Saving Awards. He is a certified firearms instructor, bike patrol officer, radar lidar instructor, and first aid, CPR, AED instructor for the American Red Cross, which he volunteers teaching life-saving methods to the community in CPR, first aid, and AED. Richard looks forward to serving the community of Fairfield Township as a police officer. Mark Bartlett, 27 years old, was born and raised in Cincinnati, Ohio. He graduated from Oak Hills High School in 2013 and then enrolled into the Great Oaks Police Academy, where he graduated in 2016. After he graduated from the police academy, he worked as a corrections officer for both the Hamilton County and Butler County Sheriff's Offices. Mark enjoys traveling, hiking, amusement parks, and spending time with his close friends and family. Tonight, he joins the Fairfield Township Police Department with over 5 years of corrections experience, and he is excited to serve and protect the Fairfield Township community. Austin Reed, 2017 graduate of Edgewood High School. In 2020, he chose to pursue his childhood dream of becoming a police officer and attended the Butler Tech Police Academy, where he later graduated in 2021. He is very passionate about becoming a police officer and starting his career in law enforcement with the Fairfield Township Police Department. His personal goal through the academy was to motivate fellow cadets, and he is very excited to bring that motivation to the township. He looks forward to establishing a good relationship with the township team and the community he will serve. Did I miss anything?
At this moment in time, if you guys want to pick up your oaths so you can read it while Mrs. Harkemeyer swears you in. Afterwards, again, you can make some comments, introduce your family. You have a lot of support here, obviously, which is great to see. And then after that, photos. And then after that, there will be a get together at the fire station, which is next door for your friends and family. So if you want to stay there,
And if my fellow trustees would like to join over here. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name. Do solemnly swear that I will serve my department with respect and dignity. Just say it all together. Just everyone all together. Let's save time and do it once. All right. Let's start at the beginning. Okay. I state your name. Do solemnly swear that I will serve my department with respect and dignity, serve and protect the citizens of Fairfield Township with compassion, courage, and integrity, and uphold the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of Ohio, and the rules and regulations of the Fairfield Township Police Department. And I will faithfully, honestly, and impartially do the duties of Township Police Officer and Township Constable for the Township of Fairfield and Butler County, State of Ohio, during my continuance in said office. Congratulations. And on behalf of the Board of Trustees, I want to welcome all of you to our police station, our police department. We've done a lot of wonderful things here in our community, and I think you're all going to bring some great skills to further strengthen our police department. So we're looking forward to having you. And I want to thank all of you for being here tonight. It heartens me that so many people care about our first responders. your family, your kids, your relatives, and just know that I think everyone in this room supports them and supports the gentleman standing behind me as well. So please keep that in mind as all of you are going out day to day. You have so many people that are behind you, more behind you than are against you in today's day and age. Don't forget that. Welcome.
We'll start out with you. Tess? Yes.
I'm Tess Flynn, as you guys already know. My whole family's against this back wall, and half of the last row. So thank you all for coming. And I just want to thank the board of trustees, everybody that was involved in my hiring process. Really appreciate the opportunity. I'm really excited, nervous, but I think I got a lot of people backing me up, so I'm excited about that. And thank you again.
My name's Richard Coy. My family and friends is over on that section over there. And maybe over here, I don't know, where I can't see around the corner here. I look forward to serving the community here at Fairfield Township Police Department, or not the police department and the township itself. I want to thank the trustees and the police department for giving me an opportunity to come here. Hopefully I can bring my skills and training over the years. I'm a little bit older than most of these newer officers here with me, but we're all going to work as a team. We'll get through it and try to make it a safe and enjoyable place to come and visit. And I thank everybody for it.
My name is Mark Bartlett. I just want to thank the trustees for tonight's meeting. Most of my family and friends are in the back corner there. I just want to thank them for coming out, tonight. I look forward to serving the Fairfield Township community and getting out there, community oriented policing. I just want to make a shout out to my dad. He's been my big supporter throughout this whole thing. So, also my coworkers over there. So, I just want to appreciate everyone coming out, and I hope you guys have a good night. Thank you.
Name is Austin Reed. You guys probably heard that. First, just want to thank trustees, police department. You guys have been very supportive the entire time getting through this process. Family, as well as some friends are scattered around here somewhere along the back wall, mainly. Have a great support group. It's been a long journey throughout this whole thing trying to get here, but here now, I'm very excited to see just what lies ahead with the township. So, thank you all. I appreciate it.
We'll get these signed, or if you want any family or friends want any photos, or do we want to wait until you're done? Okay, we'll wait until the chief. Correct. We'll wait until the fire chief introduces you folks, and then we'll.
all together. Please raise your right hand. Repeat after me. I state your name. Do solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute the duties of the office of firefighter paramedic, Fairfield Township Fire Department, and will, to the best of my ability, protect, preserve, and defend the Constitution and the laws of the United States and the state of Ohio, and the rules and regulations of this township. And furthermore, I solemnly swear to abide by and enforce the mission, vision, and values of the fire department. So help me God. Congratulations.
That is what happens when you hire that many people at once. We're never prepared for that many. One at a time usually stresses somebody here. The badges didn't matter, but it's all good. So at this point, the fire department has a tradition that the newly hired fire personnel go through what's called a pinning ceremony. And they have each been asked to select somebody to pin their badge on them for the first time as a career firefighter. So Mr. Estridge has requested that his mother pin him. So if she can come up front. And Mr. Perani has graciously invited his lovely spouse to pin him. So if you could go up front. So I recommend going through the little buttonhole so you don't stab yourself. It's on the other side. Gloves, man. Always gloves. So while they're getting stabbed, I would like to just point out a couple things. Number one, Matt is a firefighter paramedic. He has been with us since 2017. So he is moving from our part-time positions to a full-time position. He is replacing one of our current full-timers who is taking a position with the Cincinnati Fire Department. It's a real pleasure to be talking about the next position that we have hired. The trustees at the last meeting authorized us to increase our full-time staff by 3, and I'm happy to present Nate Perani, who has been with us since 2014. Thought I didn't know that, didn't you? Somewhere I got a piece of paper, it's written down. I don't know what happened to my paper. But Nate's been part-time with us since 2014, and he will be attending Butler Tech's paramedic class as one of our scholarships. Next meeting, we anticipate hiring the remaining 2 new people. So I would like to thank the trustees for allowing us to increase our full-time staff, which will certainly benefit and help us to complete our mission and serve the community that we protect. So congratulations, gentlemen. As always, the tradition of the fire department is a big cake. There's one over there somewhere, might be in the back. We've got lots of people going over there. So I want to thank you and welcome you aboard and wish you a wonderful career. So I had a special request from Sue Keyswetter. She wants to take a picture of all 6 of you together. So if you could all join together at the flag, and we'll let her get her picture. And then after that, family, friends, anybody that wants pictures, we'll make them do whatever you want them to do. This is pretty much the only chance you get to do that to them. So.
So everyone, let's give them a round of applause. On behalf of the Board of Trustees, our first response, we want to thank all of them. And please keep all of our ladies and gentlemen in your thoughts and prayers. They work hard. They put their lives on the line for all of us. They do a great job for the township. And we're happy to have these new team members joining. So it's a good thing for everyone. You are welcome to stay for the rest of our meeting. We're going to talk about a lot of good government stuff, or you're welcome to go have some cake, and we won't hold it against you.
Well, you guys know. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I was waiting. Hold on, Ava. I got too much.
A lot better than last time I saw you.
Oh, yeah. He showed up and I was by myself. Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. Yeah. When I saw him, I was like, very relieved. Right here. When you told me, yeah. Ooh. I just invited her, but I didn't tell you. So I was like, oh, no.
And he was like, "Oh, I'm sorry." And he's like, "It's all right."
Yes, but can we get a car and bring him from there to there, or are you guys going over to the firehouse? Right next door, or it's not connected? Yeah. But I want to get him. I want to make sure he's still walking to the car. Yes, absolutely. I want to walk. Well, I want to walk with you to the car. Is it close? Okay, okay.
You guys going out that way? All right.
Oh, okay.
Do you want me to walk with you guys?
Okay, we'll continue. Any old business items for board discussion?
Did we skip something?
So the presentation by Chief.
Is that in addition to what we've already done? The presentations, do you have something, oh, you do, in addition to the presentation you just did, do you have something in addition to that? Okay, gotcha.
I believe you have a copy of it, and also believe that Ms. Vonderhart will put this up on the board. Oh, you're fine. Thank you. So what you have on the screen is just basically an updated staffing. If you recall, in 2018, the presentation, and then the number was 29. In short, the number currently is 35. Is what we should have based on staffing levels. The presentation today is not to request any personnel. That will come at a later point in time. We can figure out the funding for it. But I did want to keep you up to date on this. The math in 2017 for 12 months of calls of 10,785. That's 10,785 calls for service. That formula revealed we needed 29 officers to take calls. That did not include, nor does it include today, detectives or administrative detective sergeant, the assistant chief, and the chief. The numbers are solely for uniform patrol taking calls, and we also have currently 2 assigned to investigation. In 2017, once again, we had 10,785 calls, which reveal we should be at 29, and that would be 371.89 calls per officer per month, which equates to 10,748. In 2021, we went up on call loads, which we knew would happen. just because of the increased staffing that we have. We went from 19 to 23, and just the normal trend in calls increasing for the police officers to respond to their issues. So that formula today translates based on 13,247 calls to 35.6 officers, which equates once again to the 371.89 calls per officer per month. Currently, we are authorized at 23. Today we reached 22. We still have one more position to fill. Again, that includes one chief, one assistant chief, one administrative sergeant, who's also the investigation sergeant, 2 detectives, and 18 call takers. We also have one part-time sworn officer assigned to Butler Tech, paid totally by Butler Tech, and he is part-time. We have a part-time civilian property room officer. We have one part-time civilian community policing officer, 2 civilian clerks, which gets us 28 total, both sworn and non-sworn. Major assignments that we are assigned to do, that we're challenged to do, would be an assignment to the burn unit. In essence, if you have an officer assigned to the burn unit, you lose that officer. That officer responds to whatever needs the county has, which would cover us also. But if you hire one, you lose one because that officer is assigned on a year-round basis to that unit. The DARE officer has become very, very difficult to fill. Kaylee Marshall, if you recall, was a DARE officer, did a phenomenal job, but she moved a lot closer to home, which is Vandalia Police Department, which she's at now. That officer we would lose 1 to 2 times a day, or sorry, I'm sorry, 1 to 2 times per week during the winter months. And so at this moment in time, we can't fill it. The canine officer, I've spoken to a couple of you about that. Very popular thing. However, when you have a canine, canines are used by every department in the area to request mutual aid. We also use any canine in the area. Most recently, we had a bank robbery where we used Trenton's and the county sent dogs. So we have a lot of cooperation between municipalities, but it also is expensive to have a canine. The canine requires, I believe it's 3 or 4 days a month of training also. So it's not a number that you have. You may basically 0.25 of an officer. But I just wanted to bring you up to date. When you look at other formulas, for example, per capita approach to staffing, having 23,000 in population, the standard there is 1.8 to 2.6 per thousand, which indicates 41.4 officers to 59.8 officers. That's not what we're asking. We're nowhere near that, but that's just to demonstrate where we're at this moment in time. If you have any questions, I'll entertain them.
Well, thank you so much for that information. I think when we met earlier in December, you gave me the same data. And so can you give us an idea of when you may be asking for more officers, or is that kind of just dependent on how many you can get filled to your level you'd like to be now?
What I would like to do is come up with the level that is reasonable based on the administrator and myself addressing the numbers, the budgeting, and so forth, and then we'll ask for that number. It's going to take a while to fill. Police candidates are not readily available anymore as they used to be, as you guys are well aware, very difficult times, but we are finding them slowly but surely. So let's say, as an example, that we would give you 7 to 10. It would take a long time to get that number. We may process a lot of candidates, but oftentimes they fail in one of the processes. And it's very competitive. So everybody is like us. Everybody's just looking. So Fairfield, Hamilton, everybody, Westchester. And this is a national trend. It's not anyone for fire, as Chief Thomas showed you the last meeting. All right.
Could you, and you probably, maybe you can do it now. I'd like to know the types of calls you're getting. Out of those, how many you said, a big number there, 13,247. If you could give us, again, you can get this back to us.
Sure.
The top 10 number of calls, those types of things.
Within the top 10, and I wouldn't have them in order right now, I can get that for you, but you would have domestic violence, you would have thefts from your establishments, Walmart, Target.
I like to,
Sure.
I'd like to have them with the numbers that we have
We can do that.
by category.
Sure, I'll get that for you.
Just, again, to know what the township's really like out there from the police department.
Sure.
I'd also like to say, I've said this for many years, we have a population roughly of 23,000, and at least 25% of those are 18 and under. And I'd like to see your calculation based on that. So when you're breaking those out, I'd like to know how many calls we're getting concerning those 18 and under, 17 and under category. Maybe not being a victim, but causing the call to come in.
I can tell you, yesterday we received 2 calls reference juveniles considering suicide. Those are actually more common than what you would expect and than we would like, but I'll try to get you that.
Again, I'd like to see that.
Sure.
Just, because when you do 17,000 times 2, 34 is your top number then.
Right.
And again, I know you went through a long process 3.5 years ago, and we're a medium size at best suburban township. So I'd like to have our numbers based on that, and not on the national averages or that type of thing. And I know it's very competitive. It's tough to find people, but again, I don't see us being like our neighbors to the west or to the southeast or to the south of us. And again, maybe the calls will open my eyes to something, but I'd like to see that. How many open cases are there? You say you have 2 people assigned to investigation.
Yes.
How many open cases are there?
I can give you that number. I can tell there's a lot. And some of the cases are lengthy. We just had a case of probably going to take months to solve.
Yeah, I'd like to see that information too. And 2020, maybe if you could give us, I know you gave us 17 and 21, maybe we could give us the total number for like the last 5 years, each year, the number of calls. And I think some of that will help me, again, like I said, understand more about what's going on in the township.
Sure.
The challenge this board's going to have is funding, of course.
Sure.
Not just for the police department, for the fire department. And there's no way we'd be without going back to the voters and getting their permission to hire more people. But that's going to be a hard conversation to have, but it's one that, as I told Mr. Birding prior to his election, that's one we should have been having on a regular basis and have not been. And I look forward to that. It probably won't be the answer we want, but I'd like to have that kind of conversation.
I'll get you all that for you, and I appreciate the time. Like I said, when I started this, kind of just a brief view of what we're facing, and then I'll give you numbers.
I'd like to see that information before the meeting. You know what I mean? I saw this and I read it and I knew you were going to be here to present it. So that's why I waited to ask you. But I'd like to see that information.
Sure.
When you get it.
Appreciate that. Sure.
And I have actually tasked Mrs. Vonderhaar and Mrs. Schultz with taking a look at some financial projections for the future, because I want to take a look at all of our different funding sources, our balances, and see what that looks like as far as how far down we could push that on the levy. Because I think if we look at some things with the economic development done, that might help quite a bit with that. Also looking at that too. So we're going to be looking at putting together some projections and some numbers for that, so that we can make an intelligent, informed decision about if and when we would go to a levy. I prefer to push that as far down the road as possible. people here have had a hard enough time with inflation, with gas prices, grocery prices, all that. I would like to push this down the road. But I do understand what you're saying, and we've talked about this before.
Okay.
Thank you
Thank you.
very much.
Old business items for board discussion.
You know where we're on the lighted part?
Jeff, how many people did you talk to? It's installed already?
I believe it is, or it is? I believe it is. Good. I'm gonna ride right up there and see it.
Anything further on that topic? Okay, communication. This is the portion of the meeting where you, the residents of Fairfield Township, are invited to share your thoughts with the board. Please know that this time has been set aside from the board to listen to you. Your comments are valued and will be taken into careful consideration. The board will not engage in dialogue at this time. Presentations are limited to 3 minutes each. We have one person that signed in tonight, Michael Gator. If you can please approach and state your name and address for the record.
My name is Michael L. Yater Jr. It's 1116 Hayes Avenue, Hamilton, Ohio 45015. Okay, I wasn't sure if you were timing me or not. All right, so it was nice to be able to see all these officers be sworn in this evening because law should be done with indiscretion. And unfortunately, there's a heavy bias and law should be removed from bias. And I see people in this building that have offered to meet with me and then have refused. I see 3 of them. I see 3 trustees that I've sent numerous emails to that say they have an open door policy that have not responded or offered to meet. I was put in jail for I get into card by the instruction of the Butler County Domestic Court because my daughter cracked a tooth off. Your officers ran headlong into throwing me in jail without verifying that I actually had a competing CPO with my wife. My wife, my soon-to-be, actually my ex-wife, has been allowed to pick up the phone and demand to call me, dial me, even though having communication restrictions. The chief of police offered to meet with me and then refused. Julie offered to meet with me and then refused. Larry here offered to meet with me and then refused. I've sent emails to all 3 of you guys. I just want answers. That's it. All I want is answers. Because this appears to be discretion. I've already talked to a bunch of other people, including Mike Moser, who's reviewed this stuff and said, look, absolute discrimination is the law. If it's required that under Amy's law that all CPOs must be filed under probable cause, then that is the discretion. By you guys bringing a lawsuit against me and putting me in jail, you created that legal precedent that all CPOs must be processed. But then have allowed my wife to pick up the phone and call me and say, I want to talk to you about this. I want to talk to you about that. The whole point of the CPO is to protect you from that type of abuse. And she's been allowed to maintain it. So my question is, why? Why should I get a CPO if nobody's going to enforce it? Nobody's going to care for me. Let my in-laws follow me. Threaten to kill me in front of my own house. Nobody has done anything for that. You guys said you guys have an open door policy and are willing to meet at any time. I like to meet. I like to sit down and have a conversation. Larry can be there. Julie can be there. Chief Wally can be there. I don't care. You guys have offered to meet and then have redacted it every single time. Why should a father, and I'm not the only father that's had this issue in Fairfield Township, that has been put in jail, whether it's a wife calling and then offering to meet up at the Schuler Park and then literally calling the police and having them arrested, or a father driving by a house to deliver antibiotics to their son that gets picked up because he happened to drive by his ex-wife house because they live on the same street as the babysitter. But then a wife can pick up and threaten to kill her husband or demand to talk to him with a CPO that says, no, you cannot talk to this person. You cannot see this person. I sat in Walmart parking lot, went in with an officer from Fairfield Township Police Department that literally, I pointed out to my wife's car. 15 minutes later, walk out. I walk out with the officer. He witnessed the violation of the CPO, then refused to file a report. Talked to Jim Monk. Jim Monk's handicapped because nobody put any of the video, which was requested, on file. I asked for my wife followed me to YMCA from East Butler. That video footage was not put on file. She was out front of Walmart. That video footage was not put, and the police officer refused to put a report in place. I want to meet with you guys to get answers. I think after almost 2 years, and you guys almost costing me my daughter because it was used against me trying to get an insurance card for this, I was told by domestic court that I was allowed to contact her via text. I text my wife. This was enough to put me in jail. My daughter crying in pain because she cracked a tooth off. I couldn't take her to the dentist because she needed an insurance card. The Butler County Domestic Court said, right here in your CPO, it allows you to talk to them. You can send her a text message. I sent her a text message. She calls somebody and then ends up having me thrown in jail. I got notification from somebody first.
You're actually at 3 minutes and 44
Oh, that's fine.
seconds.
Some of the other places actually have things that actually have timers. So I apologize. But thank you guys for this evening.
Thank you. And that's it. Okay. Next item, fiscal officers recommendations from the board. So we'll move forward. We have a motion to suspend the reading of the minutes for the following meeting, the organizational meeting of January 5th, 2022. Motion to suspend the meeting of the minutes.
Second?
Trustee Harkemaier.
Yes,
Trustee Birdie.
Yes.
Trustee Mackey.
Yes.
that passes. Motion to approve the minutes.
Second?
Trustee Harkemaier.
Yes.
Trustee Birdie.
Yes.
Trustee Mackey.
Yes.
Passes. Motion to pay bills.
Second?
Trustee Harkemaier.
Yes.
Trustee Birdie.
Yes.
Trustee Mackey.
Yes.
Passes. Administrators report, please.
Thank you. This week, I did hear from Carsing at Butler County Engineers Office. They are working on right-of-way acquisition on Green Lawn for Phase 1. There are approximately 6 to 7 properties. They met with 3 this week. That is a cost that the township will incur. So they will report back, but they at least wanted it on our radar and for us to be aware that those acquisitions have and negotiations have been started. Today, Chuck Gorns and I met with Susan Ellerhorst. She is the new Community Development Director at Butler County. She basically took over for Desmond Maytall, and she's administering the CDBG, the self, the home funding. She did let us know that we were awarded the CDBG CD grant, $160,000 for a new park. And I did print out, this was presented a while ago, but this was the vision that Chuck had. It included basketball park, a playground area, seating area, and some parking spaces. So we are waiting for the letter awarding that, and then we will bring things before the board. So that was a great win. I was able to talk to Susan about, she said pain points, but I discussed our various sewer phases up in the 5 Point and how critical that's been in helping residents, and also our partnership with Habitat because they've awarded self money $100,000 this past year, and Habitat continues to build houses on all centers. So I would like to see that partnership continue, and it was just really nice to meet with her, and she's going out around the community learning where people's needs are, and we hope to continue to concentrate on that area. So that was a positive. Chuck submitted 4 Lane Bank properties for hopefully us to acquire, demo, turn around, similar to what we did with the other dozen properties. So those applications were just turned in yesterday to the county. ARPA funding, you're aware that that's out there. We've received final notice on that and guidance, and then the law director and OTA have provided sample resolutions. So maybe if the board wants to just keep that in the back of their head, think a project, and at some point, if you want to individually or in a meeting discuss what your vision is and direction, we have till 2024. So I wanted to keep that in front of you. So the final thing, Veterans Memorial update. We have submitted to the state biennial budget. We have asked for $215,000, which is about 66% of the project. Letters of support were received from Butler Tech, Fairfield City Schools, the Fairfield Chamber, the Fairfield Community Foundation, the Veterans Committee, and Barney Landry. So that was wonderful to have those community leaders show their support. So that has been, it's not due until March. They pushed the application off. but we got that to George Glover, and he's working with the legislators. So the last thing I have is in regards to the recent weather events. It was in my 8 years, which that's limited compared to some of you, but that was a challenge that I have seen, and we have experts, and what they faced, hours of really bizarre weather, ice, sleet, that compounds things when you then have snow, and it just was continuous. And I can't say enough good things about the attitude, the work, the positive energy I felt from communicating with the community, making sure they knew what was happening, but then the way they supported our crews. The public works, they logged 29 and a half overtime hours, 820 gallons of brine, and 183 tons of salt, so about $18,000 for that one event. And the beauty of this group is the knowledge they have, so they know when throwing product is going to be ineffective, so there's no waste. I mean, they're the best at what they do. I put them up against anybody in this county or state. I'm proud beyond belief of the communication among our team. Chuck Owens and Nick went out and spent all day Friday troubleshooting. Chief Thomas, unbelievable. Not only was he running crash calls and making sure that he could clear the way for medics to get into homes, but he had fires, he was helping other jurisdictions, and he worked 12 hours Friday starting at 5:30 in the morning and then helped me troubleshoot for residents all day Saturday. Unbelievable, positive attitude, couldn't be more proud. I did write commendations for Mr. Bennett and Chief Thomas, if I'm allowed to read those. So dated today, Jeff Bennett, I am writing to thank you for your efforts during our most recent weather emergency, which ran from February 2nd to February 4th, 2022. You and your department exceeded all expectations, tackling a very difficult job that was made even more difficult by the ice, sleet, and snow that continuously fell for 2 days. Over the past week, due to your preparation and planning efforts, our public works crew was the most productive and effective I have witnessed in 8 years. Your process worked so well that response time to residents was continuously applauded both on social media and through countless emails and calls to me, the administrator. Although I understand you prefer to stay in the background, I believe that your talent, your work ethic, and your leadership deserve to be publicly recognized. The administration and board sincerely thank you and the public works teams for your efforts. The community would not have been as safe or the roads so effectively treated without your hard work, determination, and efforts, both inside and outside of working hours. Thank you for being part of this team. You continue to make me proud. You've exemplified leadership, and you're sincerely appreciated. That's from myself and the board.
And I'll add to that too. I like driving from other communities into Fairfield Township because I can tell when I'm in Fairfield Township after a snow event. You can tell. You drive over our border and the roads are nice. I look at the roads in my subdivision around. You guys do a great job with it. You can totally tell Fairfield Township versus other communities, and I'm proud of you, and I'm proud of your entire team.
So, Chief Thomas, I am writing to thank you for your efforts during our most recent weather emergency, which ran from February 2nd to February 4th. As always, you exceeded expectations and worked as need dictated. You assisted the Public Works Department during a very difficult and time-consuming situation while also effectively running your department. Over the past 4 days, you have worked countless hours, many of them overtime and on the weekends, to assist your teammates and community. Because of your dedication to the job, I was able to contact an additional driver and help dozens of residents. Your involvement alleviated some of the work burden on the Public Works Department. You also ensured that medics were able to respond to critical calls by cleaning icy areas. All of this was accomplished while you were also running crash and fire calls. Whether it was 5:30 a.m., noon, or midnight, you were answering my calls and assisting our efforts, and you did it positively. The administration and board sincerely thank you for your assistance. The community is better today because of your leadership and dedication. Your work ethic, critical thinking, and constant team member mentality are second to none. Thank you for being part of the Fairfield Township team and for serving as the fire chief You continue also to make me proud, have made my job easier, and you're sincerely appreciated.
You always do go the extra mile. I've seen it many times. It's appreciated. All of you.
So those will be put in your personnel files if you would like to see copies, and that's all I had to report.
All right, let's go on to resolutions. And we have the first one, actually the next resolution.
Resolution number 2227 to approve open purchase order balances.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Any discussion?
Trustee Harkemaier.
Yes.
Trustee Birdie.
Yes.
Trustee McAfee.
Yes.
Passes. Next resolution, please.
Resolution 2234, authorizing the administrator to execute contract with Dell for Microsoft 365 licensing.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Any discussion?
Did we have a total number or what the cost is going to be? I mean, I see the sheet behind there. How are we splitting this up?
Typically, if you can correct me if I'm wrong, but typically it's divided by departments depending on how many computers are used. So there's a bulk that goes, there's less here at admin, the bulk goes to fire, but then police. So I don't even know if it's 30, so we would have to get the exact, but yes, it's distributed among departments.
Based on the number of computers.
Correct.
And then we're paying it out of all kinds of funds.
Correct.
It would be helpful if we knew how much was coming out of each fund in the resolution.
We can add that in the future. You can, would you like us to email it once they pay?
Does somebody already have the number?
Have you calculated yet? I think we were waiting for this to be approved, so we can calculate and send it to you.
You've got 5 different funds on there.
Yeah, 1,000 general fund is administration, 2031 is roads, 2081 is fire, 2011 police, 2289 EMS. So
It would just be helpful if it had the number on there,
okay,
how much out of each channel.
we'd be happy to do that. Make sure that fiscal office is aware.
I'm sure it was budgeted that way, right?
Correct.
Any further discussion?
Trustee Harkemaier.
Yes.
Trustee Birdie.
Yes.
Trustee McAfee.
Yes.
Passes. Next resolution, please.
Resolution 2235, authorizing the administrator to execute agreement with the Butler County Emergency Management Cooperative Program at a total cost of $8,831.55. And this is also distributed among the department funds, and we can break that down in the future. This is our annual, which is based on per capita that each jurisdiction pays into the EMA.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
I mean, it just, when you look at it and you see 4 different numbers there, you just wonder if we've decided, where we're going to pay this from or not.
I know Shelley appropriates going in, but we will absolutely add. Again, that's 1,000, and there's a percent that she uses typically. I think it's 10, 20, 20, or 10, 30, 30. Yeah, so we'll get that for you.
Yeah,
and share it with the board.
And I don't know why we wouldn't just pay this out of the general fund. It's got a different number on population on here than we talked about earlier. Just for information.
I will tell you this, the EMA is a really good value to Fairfield Township. I attended the EMA meeting this afternoon, and they really do make the best use of their talent, skills, and resources. They are a nationally called upon unit, and they really do a good job. Any further discussion?
Trustee Harkemaier.
Yes,
Trustee Birding.
Yes.
Trustee McAdie.
Yes.
that passes. Next resolution, please.
Resolution number 2236, awarding paramedic tuition payment to firefighter EMT Ian Shoemaker at a total cost of $9,451.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Any discussion?
Trustee Harkemaier.
Yes,
Trustee Birding.
Yes.
Trustee McAdie.
Yes.
that passes. Next resolution, please.
Resolution 2237, authorizing the administrator to enter into contract with TR Gear Landscaping for the Fairfield Township Princeton Road medians at a total cost of $11,404.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Any discussion?
Did we get a second price?
This year we did not. Chuck has the past 2 years shopped it out. This has continued to be the best deal. Also, Butler Tech had contributed to our first go round, and that's who they use. So for ease of use and because they've been the least expensive, we proceeded with them.
You said Butler Tech, but you meant
Oh,
Bridgewater
I'm sorry,
Falls.
Bridgewater Falls. Thank you.
And those are all supporting reasons, but I still think you're going to spend $11,000. You could get more than that price.
Chuck, did we actually spend, isn't that a top price? Because we didn't water as much. So that's the worst case, but yeah, then there were several times we didn't water, several times you supplemented, so.
And is Bridgewater, are they helping us out?
I haven't heard that they are this year, but I'll approach Danielle and see if they would like to contribute.
So you haven't talked to her about it?
I have not.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Trustee Harkemaier.
Yes,
Trustee Birding.
Yes.
Trustee McAdie.
Yes.
that passes. Next resolution, please.
Resolution 2238, approving purchase per state contract, a new 2022 ambulance from Horton for the fire department in the total amount of $246,000. This is a demo that from Horton that Chief was able to find. We missed a couple other demos. They're going fast.
Motion to adopt 22-37.
Second, any discussion?
I'm sorry, 2238. I apologize.
Second, any discussion? Chief, would you like to elaborate, please?
So this resolution and the one following are a direct relation to vehicle problems that the fire department has been experiencing. We have a vehicle that has been out of service basically since December.
I'm sorry, which vehicle is that?
Medic 213.
Is that the new one?
It's the oldest medic unit that we have. It went out of service in July. At the end of July at the fair, it was out of service and came back to us at the beginning of November. It's a warranted repair again. This will be the third transmission and the 15th transmission module that they put into it.
What model and year is it?
That is a 2012 Horton on a Chevy Ram chassis. We have had ongoing and continuing maintenance issues, both with the DEF system, which is the diesel exhaust fluid, and now with the transmission. As we have purchased new vehicles, we've purchased larger chassis to get away from some of the problems that are inherent. This is a national problem with this particular transmission. It's not something that we have broke. It's just an ongoing problem. And it's still in the shop. They're anticipating the new transmission to be here Thursday. So we may get it back next week. But the reliability is absolutely horrible. And I can no longer afford to allow us to be without reserve medics. We have staffing issues. that cause us problems and difficulties in getting trucks on the road as it is. I cannot afford not to have working ambulances when I have staff to run them. We have started talking internally at the fire department about what our options were. My original was Medic 211 is due for replacement, and it should become the reserve truck and a new truck put in service. We are currently watching our numbers and the number of multiple calls that we are getting. By multiple, I mean 2 calls within 1 hour. That means both of our medic units are tied up at the same time. We have nobody available, which results in us using more and more mutual aid. With the increase in staffing that you've authorized, I have a working plan on how we're going to put a 3rd ambulance on the road. And I need reliable equipment to do that. And that was the request for both the new vehicle, which we're in cycle for the replacement normally. Typical delivery right now is 24 months or less. It depends on the manufacturer, anything from 18 to 24 months. This demo is actually on the ground being used as a sales tool, and you should be able to get it within 30 days. The next vehicle that's on the agenda is a used vehicle that we were able to locate. I went looking for used ambulances that would meet our needs and help us to be able to actually get rid of the medic that we're having trouble with instead of continuing to put time and energy into it. I found 3 medics that were scattered across the United States that would have met what I think would be our needs. They ranged from $62,000 to $89,000. They were through a sales company, and they wouldn't tell us where they were, so I couldn't even figure out if I could go drive and look at them. I've had some discussions with the law director because of the pricing and the fact that they're used and where we're even allowed to consider buying them. I think we could figure that out, but in the meantime, I had reached out to our local vendors. Horton had just taken a vehicle in on trade from Chagrin Falls Fire Department. It is also a 2012, but it only has 47,000 miles on it. So it is a totally different system. This is an international, like our new bariatric truck, similar to what Liberty and Fairfield run. So it's a bigger international diesel, international transmission. And we went up and looked at it. It's in great condition. We're going to fix a couple minor things that we identified as part of that sales purchase price. So for $46,000, we're going to get a medic that should last us as a reserve for 5 years. And again, it's all designed to make us have the ability to take trucks out of service to get maintenance. We have had our 2 frontline trucks since this truck's been in the shop, non-stop. We actually have to take them out of service and go down 1 ambulance to do something even as simple as an oil change. And we're too busy for that.
What's delivery?
They told me they'd have it ready in a week. So I couldn't commit until we pass a resolution authorizing the purchase, but they told me that they would start on it and they expected to have it ready within a week. So it was on what he termed minor. We'll see when he dig in how minor some of it is, but they were going to put it back in service for us. So. But we currently are averaging 10 calls a day. That's up 2 calls from pre-pandemic per day. And there is no signs of it slowing down. So we've got to be able to do something different to get additional resources available. Tonight, just before the meeting, we ran 4 calls in 15 minutes. And one of those required the bariatric unit and mutual aid ambulance because we were just out of equipment and people. So this is part of that, being able to upgrade our response. By reallocating our staffing, when we have 12 people, I can put another medic on the road only if I have the equipment to do that. So that's why this purchase is on the agenda. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
This is not a new problem. I guess I'm just shocked that it sort of came out of the blue. I mean, it's been going on for a while.
Well, every time we talk to the techs, they say, oh, we're getting a new module, it's gonna be fixed and it's gonna be back on the road. And it's just gotten to the point where I can't comfortably believe that they're gonna fix it and I'm gonna be able to put it on the road and run it first out. So my thought is, it's either gonna get traded to Butler Tech, because they can run around in the parking lot, and if it goes into limp mode, it doesn't hurt anything and nobody dies. If I put it out on the road and put a patient in it, and we're on the way to UC on 129 and I can go 20 miles an hour, that's a problem. And I don't think it's fair to our citizens to take that risk. The money is in the budget for the ambulance. So we just pushed a little harder to get it done earlier in the year than we normally would have.
So you had a demo price in the budget?
I had a brand new ambulance in the budget, which was estimated at 260,000.
Which would have been 2 years from now.
No. Well, if we ordered it now and we couldn't get it because they don't have chassis to build them, yes.
Right. So late last week, it seemed like we were down to one squad.
We had a staffing issue for about 2 hours. So we had people who got mandatory overtime that had to leave, and it took us a couple hours to get additional staff called back. So we had to rely on mutual aid for 2 calls, I think. Which is why we run mutual aid and give service to other communities. So when we get caught like that, they help us out. So,
Well, and that's an underlying problem. The whole issue with the shortage of fire staff across the country, Butler County, and Fairfield Township. It is not just a Fairfield Township problem.
absolutely.
It's a statewide problem. It's a national problem.
And that was the premise for why we're going after a safer grant and why you authorize 3 additional people, because we know we have a staffing problem like everybody else does. And staffing is a big part of it, but equipment that works is just as big a part. So
And it sounds like you have tried to take measures to make what we have work, but it sounds like the issues still might worse.
that vehicle is actually due to be phased out with the purchase of the new one,
Okay.
which
So
is
just
a plus.
accelerating.
But if I want to put another vehicle on the road, we wouldn't have a reserve then. So I need to figure out how to get a quality reserve that I can rely on. And that's why we found a used one that we think will fit that bill to build out the whole system the way we want it to work.
That SAFER grant's been submitted.
Safer grant has been submitted. The anticipation is they will start making awards sometime May or June. But there is no rhyme or reason to when ours will get an answer, whether we get an award or a refusal letter. It could be any time in the next 14 months. They start and they award until they run out of money. If somebody turns something in or withdraws from the grant, then they would reissue that money to the next. So they don't necessarily throw you out if there's a chance there might be some more money at the end. Hopefully we'll do well in the grant. I want to commend Assistant Chief Schuman. We did a lot of work ahead of time, and when they sent the actual documents out, they made all kinds of changes. So we had to scramble and reconstitute a lot of information that was different than what we anticipated. So we were well ahead of the February 4th deadline. So we got it in without any problems.
And it's not an all or none type situation either, is it? They can fund part of the grant?
They can issue anything from 20% to 50% to 100%. They have negotiated in the past on grants that I've been associated with where we've asked for, let's say, $100,000, and they will give you an alternative, say, you take 80,000. No, I don't want $80,000. They do that. I mean, their focus is try to help as many departments as possible, and it is entirely possible instead of giving us 9, they would give us 6. But it's still 6 that we wouldn't get, and
Right,
a
but
significant amount of money
yeah,
that
I-
may not be the 9 that
Right,
we asked
and I
for.
understood that it wasn't an all or none kind of thing.
Not
You
usually.
know, we might get some help, just not as much as we're asking. When you're down to one squad, who do you tell that to?
Who do I tell it to?
Yeah,
Nobody.
you don't tell the administrator?
The coverage for our township is automated. through the dispatching system. So if we have no vehicle available, they automatically send mutual aid. So if we're out on a fire and we get an ambulance call, they just send them in. We don't have to interact at all. And they
But
use,
you knew that you didn't have coverage
I found
for a
out,
period of time. Right?
yes,
Did you find out before it happened?
as it was happening. When
As
when
it
the
was
squad
happening.
was placed out of service, I was notified almost instantaneously.
I would have hoped you would have had a few minutes notice.
Um,
They were mandated,
Some
and then they
days.
still had to leave. They were
They're
mandated
full-time
somewhere
jobs.
else. Somewhere else. Okay,
Yes.
gotcha.
Yeah, they were recalled by their full-time job, and under mandation, they have no choice but to report. So we hope to avoid that, but on a daily basis, I get report offs for people who are being mandated for overtime. One of the gentlemen that was standing here, Jason Jeffers, probably signs up for 10 days a month to work for us and gets mandated 8 of those days and ends up reporting off to his full-time job. So
But you know that in advance. You find out a few minutes in advance. that
for those, usually we find out the night before or early in the morning when they get called for overtime.
Where does he work? Okay.
I couldn't tell you. I got so many of them working so many places, I couldn't tell you where his
That's
full-time
okay.
job is.
I know it's a regional problem, a countrywide problem. And we have to deal with. Okay.
And to date, we have never not responded somehow to the call, whether it's mutual aid or a different vehicle and mutual aid.
Okay. Any other questions?
Trustee Harkemaier.
Yes.
Trustee Birding.
Yes.
Trustee McAdie.
Yes.
Next resolution, please.
Resolution 2239 to approve purchase of used 2012 ambulance from Horton for the fire department in the total amount of $45,000.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Any discussion?
Did you have this in the budget?
I had $200,000 in EMS contingencies. So, yes,
So you didn't really have it in the budget.
not that particular item, but we had an extra 200,000 that was budgeted for unknown expenses. Normally, we try to build our contingencies up to the point where we can afford an ambulance. So it was at 200,000 this year. But the ambulance purchase, the new ambulance purchase is coming out of our of a budgeted plan from safety service lady.
What are we gonna do with the
When and how I get it back from maintenance will depend. I got a phone call, strangely enough, today from an ambulance dealer from New Jersey asking if we had used ambulances. It's not as strange as you think because that individual where I used to work, we sold him probably a dozen ambulances over the years. And he pays to have people drive them to New Jersey, and then he sells them overseas and ships them out. And he makes money at it. So there are some of those. There are places that will wholesale it for us or retail it for us. We have a very well documented partnership with both facilities at Butler Tech. And the scholarship we just awarded is the third one for the fire truck that we traded. So we've used the $30,000, almost all of it. So that's a great opportunity. We will reach out to Butler Tech before we move any further with selling it to see if there's an interest in it. But I think it's fully capable of being sold. The reliability is what scares me. And since we identified the resources that we have and found vehicles that make sense for us, I think it's a smart move. But after we get all the vehicles and we get that one back, then I will research and make a recommendation to the board for approval.
And the 45,000, that's as much probably as we could spend without some type of formal process.
According to the law director, Used ambulances are kind of a single source provider type issue. It's like buying a Stryker cot. They're the only ones that make it. And there's only one of any used ambulance in the world. There's no mates that are exactly alike. And he believed that we could have bought any of the other ones. I was much more comfortable because I was able to actually physically go and drive this unit and slam the doors and look at it, and make sure it was what they said it was. Where the other ones potentially, unless we were willing to fly to New England, I think the one might have been in Maine. In the wintertime is not my plan to fly to Maine, but that would have been the only way that we could have went and looked at it, and then we would have had to transport it back. So $89,000 for the ambulance plus $5,000 to ship it back here, and not having the ability to really look at it didn't appeal to me. So I thought we were better off dealing with a local vendor because I can always reach out to them if there's a problem and negotiate some assistance in getting the problem fixed. And since it's a Horton ambulance, and Horton's in Columbus, and we have a Horton sitting next door right now, and we're going to buy another Horton, and thinking that they're going to help us out if we run into a problem with the used truck.
We also have a Horton in some garage somewhere too, right?
No, well, yeah, that's a Horton, but on a Chevy chassis. That's in Westchester on Winditch Road.
Yeah.
And it'll have dead batteries, and we'll have to put a new set of batteries in when we get it back, like we did last time.
Are we getting any kind of warranty with either one of these?
There is no warranty with the used. The new one is the standard warranty with the new equipment, which is 1 year on all the electronics. And typically, some parts, like the powertrain, will have 100,000 miles. We very rarely make the years. We run out of miles before we run out of the years on the warranty stuff. And then the Ford chassis will carry a Ford warranty, 50,000 in 5 years, which at the rate we're driving ours, we get well past the 50,000 in 2 years.
Thank you.
And you can't buy extended warranties on ambulances or fire trucks, unfortunately.
Any further discussion?
No.
Trustee Harkemaier.
Yes,
Trustee Birdie.
Yes.
Trustee McAfee.
Yes.
that passes. Next resolution, please.
Resolution 2240 to approve contract with Finishing Touch for cleaning the police department.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Any questions or comments?
We have several things with the police department, haven't we?
Trustee Harkemaier.
Yes,
Trustee Birdie.
Yes.
Trustee McAfee.
Yes.
that passes. Next resolution, please.
Resolution 2241 to approve the 2022 annual invoice payment in the amount of $23,780 to Miami Valley Regional Crime Laboratory. These services are used by the police department for crime scene investigation and analysis, coming out of Fund 2081. Again, annual.
Let's go adopt.
Second. Any discussion?
It's about the same cost as in the past. Because we're using it more, or
Trustee Harkemaier.
Yes,
Trustee Birdie.
Yes.
Trustee McAfee.
yes.
that passes. Next resolution, please.
Resolution 2242, authorizing the purchase of ammunition for the police department from Keisler Police Supply in the amount of $12,313.
Let's go adopt.
Second. Any discussion?
Thanks for that additional information on it.
Trustee Harkemaier.
Yes,
Trustee Birdie.
Yes.
Trustee McAfee.
Yes.
that passes. Next resolution, please.
Resolution 2243 to approve purchase of wellness equipment from Johnson Health Tech North America Incorporated for the police department in the total amount of $38,888.51, and this is state bid.
Motion to adopt 2243.
Second, any discussion?
I have just a little bit of problem voting for gym equipment. I mean, I know it's a great idea, and we got the space and everything, but when we all know the fiscal hole we're in, and it's coming to the staffing issues, I just have a hard time spending $38,000 on that. I'd really like to see us wait on that and the bicycles until we have some more answers.
I look at it as a perk to attract more talent. If we have equipment on in-house that they could use for and after shifts or when they're not working, that's the way I look at it.
I understand that, and I look at it and say, gosh, that's almost another police officer.
Well,
40, almost $50,000.
that's a one-time purchase. It's not per year.
But it's still one more police officer. And again, police department's running in the red, I think, already. As far as the millage goes, of course, they're not the only department, but again, I understand it, both of them, but I just think we might be better off spending that money in salaries.
Care to elaborate?
Sure. So the wellness equipment now has become part of the Ohio Collaborative. It's part of, we have, I think, 9 certifications from the Ohio Collaborative. Also, one of the 6 pillars from President Obama's Commission on Law Enforcement also addressed also wellness because of the emotional component, such as suicide, et cetera. So that's all part of also working out. But the Wellness Committee also addresses emotional issues if there's something that needs to be done. We have EAP that we do, so it's a bigger picture than just the workout equipment. All area departments have it. We're the only ones, quite frankly, that don't. And most of the ones that are in the area are state of the art. We called today, Captain O'Neill called today to see if there's any updates, and there is, again, it's a state bid. It's going up significantly. Workout equipment has always been expensive, but if we wait much longer, it'll probably go up significantly. And it is a one-time investment that we need, whether we stay at 23 or whether we increase, it's going to be there forever. It doesn't, workout equipment doesn't work very easily.
Do you see this as something that would help us to attract and retain talent?
I think it will. I don't know if I believe you've seen the pamphlet that was submitted by the vendor. It's state of the art. It's beautiful. Our room downstairs, you've seen it. It's beautiful. It's empty, but it's beautiful. And I think that's just one more thing that we can bring our folks in addition to a nice new building, and show it to them. And I think it's impressive. And in addition, we work out on duty. A lot of guys are just jumping at the bit to get here so they can come in early or stay late and work out.
Can you talk to me a little bit about the importance of our officers staying physically fit?
So we look at fitness as we look at range work. It's job criticality. We don't shoot people every day, but when we do, we have to be ready. We have to have the ammunition for it, for the range, and that's why we ask for the ammunition. Also, job criticality as it relates to physical fitness. We may be in a car. It happens probably every day, sitting, going to a call, and get out and have to run after somebody right away, so your heart rate goes from 0 to 180. Additionally, staying fit also helps you get through critical incidents easier, and I can go on, but that's basically it. Just there was never really, throughout my career, in the few years that I've been in my career, there was not much emphasis on mental stability within law enforcement. That changed about maybe 5-6 years ago, and the state of Ohio has that now as part of their collaborative, which we are certified in that. So to me, it's important. To me, it's I grew up working out. I probably don't look at it, now, but I grew up lifting weights, running, martial arts, and it's part of my being, part of who I am. A lot of these younger guys, I think you saw Sergeant Miller. He's loving the day that we get this so he can work out. The younger guys, we've got several guys involved. The last gentleman that we hired, Ryan, is a black belt in just about everything that is out there. He's looking forward to using that equipment. He is also going to be responsible for doing defensive tactics, which is also part of wellness. We have a young crew, and his talents will be well used in that endeavor. But again, I can't just talk about the workout equipment as just part of the bigger picture. But there's a lot of guys that really want to have the workout equipment there.
So you see some opportunities for some training down there, physical fitness, probably team building along with that too. Would you say?
Yes, certainly part of that. Yes.
I would say a lot of those things would all lead to employee retention, which we know is an issue not just for us,
Right.
but across the board. People are talking about it. So
Correct.
I think that a wellness program combined with a cultural kind of tendency towards working out being fit is probably a good thing for our kids.
It is. There's no doubt about it.
And there's nothing to say they couldn't do that on their own. Drive right down the street, what, 3/4 of a mile, and it's beautiful gym right there. Go a little further, the drive is no time. So again, it's not like it's our responsibility when the financial situation we're in. I don't disagree with everything you said, and I'm sure that when you worked out, if you didn't have it in the building, you went and found it and worked out, just like the black belt.
Sure.
So it's not like they're not going to work out, or they're going to work out because of this. If they're going to do that because they should be doing it, they'll be doing it every day.
But you can look at it as more contemporary in policing. Everybody has it these days. Where I came from, every division had it. It's
Where did you come from?
You know where I came from.
Where was it? That little city up the road?
That little city up the road, north to be exact. But it's become more contemporary to have that capacity within a police department. It's just kind of a way of doing business in today's time. And again, in order to retain, hire, I think it's one of those things we can't compete with anybody in the area right now.
Because we don't have a weight system in our base?
If you look at that component as part of what they look at, we don't have it.
Well, we just had 4 people sign up tonight, and we don't have it. So.
It's been a struggle.
Yeah, well, I know it's been a struggle. We've been here for it. So,
right.
We want to do everything we can to have those people on the street. And you budgeted for this? 2191.
The other thing too, I'd like to refer back to is I did mention earlier we have tasked Mrs. Vandahar and Shelley Schultz to present some financials. The meetings I've taken with them, our financial position is actually pretty strong right now. The general fund is strong. Our sort of funds are strong. We're actually in a very good, solid position in Fairfield Township. So, in an upcoming meeting, we'll go ahead and present those findings. But we're actually doing pretty well. So we'll take a look at that going forward. But let's go ahead and vote on this.
Trustee Harkemeyer?
Yes.
Trustee Burden?
Yes.
Trustee McAdie?
No. And just to comment, the 2021, we spent more money than we brought in. So again, it is true. It's on the reports that the fiscal officer gave us last month. Not on what we budgeted, not on what's in the bank, but what the revenue that came in versus the expenses that went out.
At the next meeting, bring that so that
So they have it.
No,
But I have
want
it.
to see your position because you said this a couple of times.
I can go to the car and get it now if you like. It's right on my
I
front
would
page.
really like at the next meeting to discuss this about that so that we can understand. Because it seems to me that we might not be discussing the same things or understanding.
Yeah, I think we're on two different chapters of the same book, maybe, because we've been padding the general fund, and we should be spending that to put people on the street. And I said that 2 months ago about the fire department. We should have been dealing with this. And for the last 2 years, we haven't even been able to talk about it in public.
The
The
last time
number,
we
the
had
number of staff
Do
and
you
crews working,
remember? I have a
we have
question.
not been able to even talk about it in public.
The last Safer grant, were you for that or against that? Remember the Safer grant from a few years ago?
I'm for every grant we can get.
You
We should
voted
be,
against the Safer grant the last time.
did
You
I? Well,
Did.
maybe because we didn't know how we were going to do it and what we were going to do. I
don't
still
know
have
what your
strong
reasons were.
reservations.
I don't know what your reasons for, but the last time you put the Safer grant out, you voted against it.
Well, I appreciate you remembering that I voted against the grant.
You did.
That's possible. I don't remember, but I'm sure I had a good reason.
Well,
I have
think
strong reservations about the lack of staff and how we're going to fund it. And we went ahead a month ago and authorized 3 more. The police department, we're still down from our authorized numbers.
well, if the
So
next,
when we get that 24th one, 23rd one, again, where's
if
the money?
next
Where's the money?
meeting,
gonna come
let's, at the next meeting, please bring your information so that you can present that so that we can understand where you're coming from.
from? What exactly do you want to know?
You have said that we're spending more than we take
I can
in,
do that.
and you have said that we are in the red. You said that we're in.
We're
dire
spending more than we're
situation.
bringing in. That's in the red for me.
Okay, so I would like you to come in
It's
and
2 pieces of
explain
paper. It's really, maybe you haven't
Or-
seen it.
If you would like to come in and talk to Mrs. Vonderhaar or Mrs. Schultz in advance of that would be fine too. But you've said this a number of times,
Mhm.
and I think we're having a little bit of.
So
a
you disagree
mismatch.
with that? You think and you already said it. You said we're okay. We're doing okay financially.
We have.
So we don't need a levy, right?
That's not what I'm saying.
Okay.
What I'm saying, and don't put words in my mouth. I see what
Okay,
you're
well, I
doing.
won't do that if you
What
won't
I'm
tell me how I
saying-
voted.
What I'm saying is that you have on numerous occasions put this horrible situation. I don't think that you might not be seeing things the same way that we're seeing it.
I know
I'd
that's
like to
true.
understand your
I
perspective.
know that's true. I don't see things the way some people see it.
So we'd like you to explain it at the next meeting.
I can do it in 5 minutes.
Well, the next meeting will give you time for that so that we can understand your perspective.
I appreciate it.
Could I just interject in that the one reason expenses are more is because the board took a loan last year and you didn't spend most of it last year, you spent it this year. So if you take that piece out, our spending was actually less than our revenue.
But it was, we did spend more than we brought in. You're saying that? So I don't have to bring anything in.
No, I'm saying that if you combine the years, we brought in the money, but didn't spend it in the same year. We spent it the following year. So
Where did we bring the money in from?
You made a loan.
You made a loan,
You
5
all
million.
approved the
I
loan.
voted against it. The administration borrowed $5 million, right?
Correct. And then at your direction, they decided to work with you to have a 5-year loan, and they're
And
paying that off.
you wanted more years than that, right? You wanted to extend
Absolutely.
it out.
Absolutely.
You wanted to
I stand
extend
by
it
that.
way out there where the interest would be 3 or 4 times the
I
amount we
absolutely
borrowed.
stand by that. There's a cost of doing
Yeah.
business. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. And that's tied up cash that we could be using for other things. So, but
The
you're
other-
the board,
Right.
you made, but my
Right.
point was that the money, we're not being accurate by just saying we're spending more. There's more to that picture. And if you take out some of those outlayers, then if we had spent all the loan money the year we brought it in, this year, or in 2021, we would have had higher revenue than expense. So it's easy to throw
I'd like to
out
see you-
whatever story.
I'd like to
But-
see that. I'd like to see that in writing.
Sure, okay.
Because we've had the loan for almost 2 years, right? We
Yeah,
spent
and
almost,
we
we
spent
spent
some of it.
almost all the money.
This
We spent-
2021 we did,
Yeah,
but we brought it in earlier than that. So,
you borrowed it the year before.
correct. So again, let's show accurate numbers.
I just read it off the report from the fiscal officer.
Yeah, yeah.
On the back of the page, it says we spent $1.5 million, 15.4 million, something like that, and we bought in 14.
Correct. And I'm just saying
There's only
there's more to that story.
$600,000 too much.
So
If we
you're
have
saying
brought, if we
that-
have brought in the $5 million loan in 2021, then it would be the revenues higher. So again, you have to take into account the whole story of what's going on, which I'm happy to provide to the board. But it's inaccurate to just say we're overspending. That is not the case.
And I disagree with that. And it's not always the amount of money, it's also how you spend it. And I've been in disagreement with a lot of that. But when it comes down to salaries and hiring firefighters and police officers, I've been there 100%. And pushing it off down the road is just making it a bigger problem.
Okay, so.
Of course. Resolution 2244 to approve purchase of bicycles from Volcanic Bikes for the police department in the total amount of $8,535.56.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Chief, do you care to elaborate?
So as we replace our personnel and increase the staffing, get back to our 23 at least, and folks come off of probation, basically our 4 new ones here. We intend to send some to training. Some are already trained. These bikes will be used for primarily special events and an occasion to address crime areas. These bikes, like anything else right now, are not readily available. It would take some time to get them in, like anything else right now. So it would be consistent with the time that we're beat back up to our 23, and hopefully the warmer weather will be here by the time we get, if you approve it.
So what are some of the circumstances that you would use these bicycles?
They're varied. They're very good for the community. People see guys on bikes, gals on bikes, and they'll make contact with them. On special events, the same thing is applicable. That could be at the fair, anything that we have at Walden Ponds, which we have a couple events at Walden Ponds, anything that we have at the park. We've had a couple things at our park. They would be on bikes, and they can also be used for crime fighting. They can sneak on people very stealthily, and again, good for the community. Primarily special events, but they would also be good for crime fighting, crime investigating.
And these would be assigned to particular officers, or?
You have to be certified to ride them, so they would be assigned according to those who are certified. And I think we have right now 4 or 5 who are. Sergeant Mays, I know, is certified. I believe Sergeant Miller might have been certified also in his prior job, and there may be others. I would have to check that. But we would have to send them to a school.
You know where they're made?
I don't. They are state of the art. I can tell you that.
Any further discussion?
Trustee Harkemeyer.
Yes.
Trustee Birding.
Yes.
Trustee McAdie.
No.
Next resolution, please.
Resolution 2245, authorizing a then and now purchase order for 2021 traffic signal maintenance from Butler County Engineer at a price not to exceed $6,514.98.
Motion to adopt.
Second, any discussion?
So we're paying this for last year. That's why it's a then and now.
Correct.
Trustee Harkemeyer.
Yes.
Trustee Birding.
Yes.
Trustee McAdie.
Yes.
Next resolution, please.
Resolution 2246, approving the purchase of a Stryker Power Load ambulance cot and power load system for the fire department from Stryker in the amount of $49,764.58. And this would go in the recently approved ambulance.
Motion to adopt.
Second, any discussion?
Go into demo.
Trustee Harkemeyer.
Yes.
Trustee Birding.
Yes.
Trustee McAdie.
Yes.
And that resolution passes. Next resolution, please.
Resolution 2247, declaring nuisance and ordering abatement on the properties listed below, and further authorizing the zoning administrator to initiate complaint Property is Exeter Street for objectionable, noxious, or dangerous uses, practices, or conditions.
Motion to adopt 2247.
Second. Any discussion?
I guess I'm a little surprised we only have one item. Because I know there's other places that need to be cleaned up. Can we get that report that shows how many we have and how many are in process and how many have been done maybe for the last 90 days or something?
Trustee Harkemaier.
Yes.
Trustee Birding.
Yes.
Trustee McAfee.
Yes?
And that passes. Under announcements, our offices will be closed to observe the President's Day holiday on Monday, February 21st, 2022. Our next Board of Zoning Appeals meeting will be Thursday, February 24th, 2022 at 7 p.m. And our next Fairfield Township Board of Trustees meeting will be Tuesday, March 8th, 2022 at 7 p.m. Any board member comments?
Trustee Harkemaier, one thing I forgot to mention in my administrative report that Chuck reminded me is that Ryan Holmes has the final PUD they'd like to bring before the board. It is something where the zone change was approved, so I think it's a familiar project. They are able to make the Tuesday, March 8th meeting. Chuck can get the information and administrative or the report to you but I wanted to find out, is the board going to be ready March 8th to hear that final PUD plan for the Ryan homes, or would you like to look at a second meeting in March? They're submitting February 21st.
Yeah, I'm okay with March 8th.
And what's the address? What's the property?
It's Ryan, that's over next to Bob Evans.
Trustee comments? Member comments?
Well, I do want to thank the Public Works Department. I go to church and the pastor wants to talk to me. I'm like, okay, yeah, is there something important? He's like, yeah, your roads department is doing a great job. Okay, I thought it had to do with something spiritual, but okay, that's great. So everywhere I go, I hear how great of a job that they do. Also hear how great of a job that our police department does. I'm very grateful for our chief. I think it's important that it's great to get 4 new officers in here tonight. And even the interactions I've had with them have been wonderful. I'm glad that we're able to add some fringe benefits to them by adding that workout equipment. I think them building camaraderie with each other before and after work, it just leads to a better work environment. I think it leads to them wanting to be here and maybe staying, like Trustee Harkemaier had mentioned. Also, I think it's an opportunity for them to blow off a little bit of steam after a hard shift. They'll just go right downstairs and work out some of that energy. I do want to thank Mr. Warrior for responding on behalf of the board when we've had issues brought to our attention, so I appreciate that, and we're not able to do that. It was a great visit to Columbus for the OTAs. We actually had some really good interaction with some of our elected officials on the upcoming task that we're going to have on behalf of Veterans Memorial. And learned a lot of things, a lot of meetings, a lot of seminars that were given, and it was a great first experience for the OTA. I think they did a wonderful job on the conference. Also want to thank Mrs. Vonderhaar for meeting with me on Friday when I had lots of questions about the agenda. I was able to reach out to you in the morning, and we met in the afternoon to get all those questions answered. Thank you so very much for your patience as I learned some of these things. So thank you very much. Yeah, I had the opportunity, so I got a snow shoveling job out of it. I did. Also want to thank Trustee McAfee for his comments at the Northampton Crossing meeting. he brought up some great points to protect our residents here in Fairfield Township with that new crossing that the city of Hampton want to put in. He brought up some great points, and I agree with everything he had to say that evening. So thank you for bringing those up.
Thank you. And that, I mean, it looks like we've made some progress on that. First, the bottom piece is almost 100% out of it. So we'll just keep push that intersection further to the south if we can, and then come down on this end. Everybody I talked to, nobody thought that needs to come past Route 4.
Right.
So it's just a matter of continuing to work on it.
Yeah, I
Thank
spoke
you.
with the Bonham family at church on Sunday, and they were very grateful that it was not going to go through the middle of their property anymore. Still not exactly excited that it might still catch the corner, but they said, hey, if that's what has to happen, that's what has to happen. But they're grateful for the, and I know Trustee Harkmeyer was online making comments as well, so. Right.
I wonder if it could actually be elevated across the bond property. Get out of the box. Could be. Well, if you came across that corner like they were showing on the one, again, I just wonder if it's possible for it to be elevated. But the way it was leaning, the bridge at North Washington Boulevard, and then coming south down 127, we might as well come on down.
Yeah, it makes, if they're going to do that, they might as well bring it south.
Exactly.
That's all I have.
You guys have done a great job with the snow emergency. Had a lot of positive feedback on it. Like I said, it gave me a lot of time to drive from other communities back to my communities to really film different snows. I even saw Mr. Jones out on a snowplow who was even out doing some field stuff. So I appreciate the way our team, you all pitch in, you all work together. I don't really see our team as being silos. I see us as working together. I see all of you working together. I don't see people saying, well, that's not my job. I'm not going to do that. You all come together. You all bring your talents to the table, and you work together for that. And I'm really proud of our team. I'm proud of all of you for having that culture and that environment where you work together with each other. So let's keep that going.
The nice thing is they have fun together and we laugh together too, which is nice. So we have a funny circle thing.
Is there a need for executive session?
Second.
All in favor?
You call the roll, right?
Trustee Harkmeyer.
Yes.
Trustee Birding.
Yes.
Trustee Matthews.
Yes.
Motion passes.